Hey YouTube, Sam here. I'm down in my basement here, and as many of you know, I'm kind of remodeling my upstairs bathroom, so I got some videos on that, but I'm also finishing off the basement so we can use it more for the family here. And down here I have kind of a half finished off shower. If you want to hear the reason why it's only half finished off and we're using it right now, go back and check out some of my other videos. Anyhow, but as we're using it, it's definitely getting a little bit more moist down here than I want, so I'm going to go ahead and put this fan in for now. And what I got is this Braun, don't know the name. You can read it and figure out what you want to call it. Anyway, ventilation fan, but it also has a light in it. I don't remember what I paid for it, and I can't remember. I got it at one of the home centers. I don't even remember which one I got it at. I've actually had it down here for a little while because it was on some sort of a sale deal, so we just picked it up because we knew we were going to need it. Anyhow, but it doesn't come with your vent, so you got to pick up one of these. This is actually one that I actually already had. It doesn't, the one that's actually in the box there does not come with this, so you have to buy this separately. I had one of these from something else, I don't remember exactly what, but it does come with the vent hose stuff here, so that's kind of why I picked that up. Anyhow, so you will have to go pick this up separately. If you do something I do, I'm not responsible if you hurt yourself. If you don't know the electrical ways of doing things, don't do it. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, don't do it. I have the breaker shut off for all this coming in here, and I'm coming off a plug actually upstairs. This is not a permanent setup that I'm doing. This is all going to change when I finish the bathroom. Right now I just need my switch here so I can turn off and on the fan that's going to be in the bathroom. I am no electrician. You know, you got to figure out the laws and the regulations in your area before you attempt any of this part of it. Power from upstairs, which the plug that's upstairs, there's only one thing on that circuit, and so I know I'm okay to do this. It was something that we wired in for one particular thing that I needed a plug in upstairs for, so I know I have plenty of ability to be able to just come off right of that here. This is now going to control the fan, so I'm taking the wires that were going over to the light, or to the switch over here, the plug-in. I had a plug-in that I controlled with a light switch so that I could plug something into it and shut it off and on when I needed to, and so that's a whole nother different story. So now I've robbed this wire and it's hanging down right here. This is actually going to go to the fan and light that's going to be in the bathroom. Now these wires coming out here, I went from that plug-in I talked to you about up above to here, and these I'm going to go ahead and put into here, which will put power into this. Now there's no power in these right now. I got everything shut off, but that'll allow this to have power, and it also allow it to switch the fan on and off. So it'll bring power into here, and the power from here will be switched through the light switch going to the fan. Hopefully there, and ground here. Now we only need one ground going into this green screw here, so instead of trying to put these together and put them both on that one screw, what you want to do is kind of take the longest one here, and got one of these, and they're kind of like a crimper, like you'd crimp on the end of your wires, but it exactly is a crimper actually, but it's made for this, we'll put it that way. Now what you could do is take these, wire nut them together with another one's pigtail sticking out of it, and then put that pigtail on the green for the ground, but this is just kind of a little bit, I guess, more professional way of doing it. Now we're going to go up in here, and I got these crimpers. I think these are actually from Harbor Freight. I'm not really sure, to be honest. We're going to squeeze that down. Okay, and that will put those two grounds together. Take that one, we're going to cut that off, and now we got these two grounds put together. we can just ground this one, worry about grounding the one here. Then normally you'd have to strip your wires, but these are already stripped. I will say, if you can afford a pair of these Klein tools, and I'll be honest, these ones are actually my dad's. I have another pair that I only paid like $9 for, and they're Klein ones as well. They don't have, the handle's not as comfortable, but everything else about them is basically exactly the same. They even have the same number on them. They are super awesome stripping tools, just little FYI. And one of the things I have in them is these holes right here. Hopefully you can see that. And part of that is you put that on your wire and then twist it, and that kind of gives you your little hook there. It just makes life a little bit easier. You hook it on whichever side you're gonna hook it here. Now it just kind of puts a little bit of this screw turns righty-tighty. So as you can see, my hook is on here. If I put my hook on here like this and start turning it, it could catch this and it would pull this off. So what you want to do is make sure that your hook is going always in the direction that you're going to be tightening it. And then another little thing that a lot of people don't realize on these tools here is if you grab one end, I hope you can see this. Here, I'm going to get you in a better spot. Alright, well, you might hear some moving around upstairs. Sun's up there, so we gotta deal with it. Anyhow, like I was saying, this tool here on the end of it, very end here, you can take and grab a hold of your wire here, and also grab a hold of this other side and squeeze. And that just kind of brings that together real nice to where when you tighten it down, you'll get a nice tight fitting. And you really want to get it tight. Snug it down really good, because that's where most fires happen, is when these loosen up and they start arcing. Then we're going to go through. Now we are going to take the blacks, and I'm going to go ahead and put this one on the bottom. I'm going to tighten that down. I'm going to take the other black, put it up here, tighten that down, and I'll get back at you. We got our white. I'll take those, do a little bit of a twist on them. I don't think I stripped these quite enough, but it'll work. And take your wire nut, wire the two white ones together. Now, yet again, you guys got to go by your codes and regulations on how you do certain things, obviously. But you want to put your grounds together. I grounded this to the box here, got my white one on here, and the two black ones on here. Now, quite honestly, I'm not sure if this is going to be on or this is going to be off when I flip this switch. And I don't feel like tracing everything right now, so I can always switch those, shut off the power, switch those, and then make it so that it switches the right direction. Hopefully I got all that. And that pretty much wires up your switch to go over to your fan and light. Fan and light down here on a bench, just top of the counter here. And basically when you get it, the fan part is going to be plugged in down here. Now the light, you got to plug it in. It comes separately in the box. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and, in the interest of making it easier on myself, not only for filming but also for testing purposes to make sure this is working before I spend all the time putting it together, is you got this right here. This was on here. You pull this off of there, it's just got a screw in it, and these will be tucked down inside and you have to grab those out. So we got these all pulled out here. up on the bench. And the first thing, you got this this piece here that came off of here. You're going to take and you're going to put your wires through that. Now, since this is for testing purposes, I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently, but when you do it, make sure you're going to want to put this over your main wire coming in off the switch first. Okay. Then you got 2 white, a blue, and a black. So we're going to have the 2 white. I'm going to put those together. Yet again, there's no power going to anything here. Okay, and those are going to go to the white one on the white lead here, to the switch. We're going to wire nut those together. Okay, then you got your black and your blue. Put those together. And those will both go to the black wire here. Make sure they're all in there good. Then you got your ground, and normally what you do is this green screw right here, you'd put your ground to that, and then you're going to button everything up with this black screw here. This goes on here, and there's a hole that this goes through and puts it on. But like I said, this is for testing purposes, so I'm actually going to use it. Alright, and before I was so rudely interrupted by camera malfunction, the ground, I'm going to go ahead and use this black one here to use as a ground for now, because basically it just needs to ground to the chassis here. Alright, so black and blue go to black, both whites go to white, ground goes to the chassis of the fan. And we are going to take this, set it here, make sure that nothing's touching that's going to hurt anything. Like I said, I'm not responsible if you try something I try and burn your house down. Right now this is just kind of so you can kind of see things happen, see how to wire it up where I'm not up in the ceiling here and you can't really get a camera into it. But basically if you do it that way, you should be good. Let's go flip the switch on. If you see any smoke, holler at me. Alright, now we got power going through here, and the light switch. Alright, all seems to be working fine. I'm going to go ahead and shut off all the power to it again. I'm going to wire this up in the ceiling, and then we'll go from there. My electrical's coming in from this side. I want my fan right here. That's my plan. So on this, there's actually, if you can see this, little dots right here, and those are where I need to line up this truss with here. And the reason for that is it's got to be down far enough for sheetrock to go under here. And I don't know if you can see this, but I already have some sheetrock right here, so I just kind of line that up with where it needs to be, and that's where it needs to be. So I put this at the same spot over here on this side, and then up here, hopefully you can see it, there is like a key slot hole up here, and I've marked that on both sides. And what I'm going to do, I don't know, right here and right over here I have some marks. I'm going to go ahead and put some screws in there, and then I should be able to hook that over the screw and bring it down and then tighten it up. There's also a couple more spots for screws up in here when we're all said and done. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and hook up all the electrical here, and I already showed you that down on the bench, because it'll be a lot easier to get this kind of hooked up than try and mess with it back here. So yours might be different. If you don't already have a little bit of sheetrock up and that kind of stuff, obviously this will be a little bit easier. Now I put screws in here. It did actually show in the book somebody using nails, talked about nails, but I screwed it in. I also threw a couple more screws here and here, and it's up. and quite honestly I unplugged the fan because I'm going to be filming, and this is actually live and electrical now, so you probably don't want to be doing this with the electrical on, but I'm going to show you even though with electrical on. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, so you're going to be hearing the fan. Next thing you do is take this metal piece here, plug it into there. Well, actually, next thing you do is actually put the metal piece inside this grate here. Then plug it all in, and then this lifts up. And I got to kind of reposition you to show you that. And the reason I have the electrical on is for this light to work here. I need this plug-in working, and right now the plug-in is hooked to this switch. I have another reason why I did that for now. You probably wouldn't do this thing. Right here there's a screw, and you're going to be tempted to put that all the way down so it's tight, and then put all this stuff up, and then put this nut on there, and it's an acorn nut. And the problem with that is this sticks down too far, so you've got to actually figure out where this needs to be just enough to where you can kind of get this screwed up on there. Problem is you can't hold on to this while this is up, so it's kind of a pain in the butt, and it's just trial and error. You see all this? So this goes up there like that first, but you're going to stick your metal pan in there. And then there's a hole up in the metal pan here. Wrong one. And then you stick your acorn nut on that. Now this isn't going to fit quite right on mine, and it's going to be a little bit wonky because I have sheetrock over here and I don't have sheetrock over here. So right now that does the job, holds all this up. Then you put your light bulb in, and you got a light. So that'll have to adjust when I get the rest of the sheetrock up. Right now I just need this to keep the steam from the shower going out the vent. Next part we're going to do is actually put the vent on here and run it out the wall. There's these fingers sticking out here, and that's where this piece goes on here. Now it has a flap inside. Got to make sure that the flap will open up with the air but close when there's no air, or when the air is blowing this direction, like from outside. So that just snaps over the top of all these. Now I gotta do it with both hands because these are kind of widened. I'm gonna have to kind of push these in a little bit on both sides and snap it on. All said and done, it should look like that. Now we got to put the exhaust hose from here through all this and out that wall right there. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you much of that. Just for that. It's hole saw from Harbor Freight. Got a video on that. Go check that out if you want to know more about it. But I'm going to drill halfway through from this side, and then take a bigger drill bit, a longer drill bit that is this size, drill all the way through. Then I'm going to go to the other side of this wall and drill back through, and that should cover it. You might have to chisel out a little bit because this is fairly thin, but it's also cheap and it does work. I've used this 3 times I think now to do this, so it'll get the job done. Well, just to prove it, I did that hole there and that hole there the same way and didn't have any problems by just taking it out with a bit of a chisel and a hammer or more of a when I go to film something, it's not going to go right. And I don't know exactly why. I think it's because I didn't get quite far enough over when I drilled the inside hole, so my battery was kind of hitting on the sides. I was having trouble getting it all the way through there, but for some reason I'm having trouble getting through. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole and use my reciprocating saw. Throw some of this in. I threw some caulk on the inside here. I don't know if it's even going to touch. I'm going to go ahead, put some screws in here and caulk around this really good. And then on the inside we'll put some insulation and probably some of that insulation foam stuff in there too. Alright. Well, it's not gorgeous, but it's sealed, and this is back on a part of my house that nobody ever gets to see anyway. Well, I put that spray foam around there, and now it's time to put in the vent pipe and that vent outer piece in the box there. Had these right here, and what they look to be is kind of almost like a weird, cheap zip tie. I'm going to go ahead and use those because these don't take a whole lot of... I'm just going to stick that on there like that. Put that onto the pipe there, run it across here, stick it on the other end here, and we'll be buttoned up there, going across. I actually have this holding this up kind of. Obviously when you get sheetrock up here, that'll hold it. I went ahead and went above those lines to kind of hold it up here too, and button it up over here. Now those clamps were actually real well. They actually hold pretty good, so they actually worked. But so I'm surprisingly happy with those. And then I'm going to blind you. The next thing you do would actually put that light cover on there, but the light cover I am not putting on because I am going to have to take this apart when I do sheetrock anyway, so just going to leave it how it is. The light's on and working, the fan's blowing out the wall now, so we can take our showers without having to worry about too much buildup. Now I do have a little bit of a warning here. If you have this directly over a shower or bath, it says you need to put it in line with a GFCI outlet. So just remember that. I did not do that in this situation. It's not directly over any water, but actually when I finish wiring this up and have it all done, I'm still going to have a GFCI ground fault interrupter in line with this. But like I said, right now this is just kind of to get us back into the shower here and hopefully not having too much problems with moisture. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, master of none. Y'all have a good one.